Good morning, and welcome to our second session of the day, Unlocking Growth, Leveraging Sales Skills to Drive Innovation and Leadership with Shawn Adamson. Unfortunately, due to extreme weather in Boston, Shawn isn't able to join us in person today, but we are so glad to have her on Zoom. And before we get started, just make sure to silence your cell phones. And when we get to the Q&A, I'm going to walk around with the microphone so everyone can get picked up on the mic. My name is Buzz. I'm a third year here studying marketing at the David Eccles School of Business. I'm so excited to be involved in the Sales Summit today and introduce our speaker, Shawn Adamson. She is Senior Vice President of Comcast Business for Comcast Cable's Northeast Division. In this role, she leads all aspects of Comcast business operations, from deepening small business relationships to implementing strategies in the mid-market and enterprise segments across 14 northeastern states from Maine through Virginia and the District of Columbia. Shawn has more than 25 years of telecommunications industry experience. She has been named as one of Utah Business Magazine's 30 Women to Watch and currently serves on the Eccles Advisory Board here at the David Eccles School of Business. Please join me in welcoming Shawn Adamson.
Thank you, Buzz. Can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully still. I'm truly sorry that I can't be there in person. You never want to do these things on Zoom, I think, if you don't have to. But I moved with my family from the West about a year and a half ago out here to the Boston area. I don't know if there's any New Englanders in the room, but they'll know what I'm talking about when I say we had an ice storm yesterday here. So I wasn't able to travel out, and so I'm grateful for the technology. You'll be enjoying that Salt Lake City is 20 degrees warmer than where I'm at in the greater Boston area right now. So you'd enjoy that extra 20 degrees as we hunker down here in the Northeast. But I'm really excited to be here and be able to present with all of you today. And we're going to try to make this fun today. So Chandler, I think, who's in the room there, we have some gift card giveaways, a few Starbucks $25, and some fast food DoorDash stuff. So we encourage audience engagement. I want to try to make this fun and interactive as we go. And I do hope we'll get to some Q&A. So you'll be able to ask me a few things. But with that, we'll just get underway. I'm going to attempt to share my presentation here. So hopefully technology will support me. So it looks like, looks like hopefully everybody can see that. Okay, so a little fun fact too. I did do my own slides today. My current team doesn't really let me do my own slides, so you'll probably learn why when you see these slides. But nevertheless, and I don't know if my good friend Kyle Spicer's in the room. He may not be, but somebody let Kyle know that I did reframe my slides into the appropriate colors this year. So I should get some extra credit for that. My company, everything we do is in blue. We own a lot of companies that have the name in blue, and that's our logo. And so always my slides when I show up to these are usually blue, but I did put them in the appropriate red, black, and white. And I am a former student at the University of Utah, a business major. This is my family here on the screen. I'm also the mom of a current business major. She's a junior, not in the room today, unfortunately, but and so we're a big kind of Utah family and really enjoy that. We were out for family weekend, and that's where that picture's from. All right, well, let's get underway if we can. Hang on, let me toggle over here for a second. Okay. All right. All right, and then Chandler, I can't see the room for a minute. So did the second slide come up okay? I also can't hear you now.
You're good. Sorry, I jumped up on the mic. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right, good. All right. I can see we need a little energy there maybe. So let's start off with a trivia question here for a fun gift card. This question is, according to the researcher and author Daniel Pink. Daniel Pink is a behavior researcher on human behavior, and he's written 7 New York Times bestsellers. What percent of time at work for all roles is spent selling something in one way or another? Anybody have a guess on what percentage? All right, so I'm gonna throw it out there.
I'm going to guess 85%. I think it's a high number.
Okay, that's a good guess. Another guess in the room?
We have a 90% guess. Higher than 90.
Anybody else? Over there on the, I don't know if it's your right side, Chandler.
97%. 35 to 40%.
All right, that person right there, you're the winner. It's 40% of the time. So
Okay.
whoever that was, gift card for you. All righty. Anyway, so 40% of the work time is spent selling, something one way or another. And it's appropriate here that I put Sam Altman's picture in one of my slides because I used ChatGPT, frankly, to come up with my topic today, or at least how we titled the conversation. But, to me, sales is not about a role, it's about a mindset. It's a growth mindset. Sales is involved in every single thing that you do. All of us today are in sales, whether our titles are that or not, right? You're selling when you're doing a presentation like this, you're selling when you're interviewing for a role, leading a project, certainly in negotiations, any of those opportunities. And learning kind of embracing that sales mindset and those sales skills can really help you drive more impact when you're talking across diverse groups and you're trying to drive cross-functional teams, or you're just trying to pivot, around challenges and opportunities. So, oops, I skipped too far ahead, I think. All right, sorry about that. So another thing about sales skills, we talk about, driving innovation. And I found this Shark Tank pitch. I don't know if those of you who have watched Shark Tank or enjoyed that show, but we enjoy it. And I found that 10 years ago, there was an episode of Shark Tank that had Kodiak Cakes. It's a company headquartered in Park City, right there in Utah. Hopefully most of you are familiar with it. My son in particular loves their protein pancakes. So maybe for another giveaway gift card here, does anybody, what's a vote? Did they take the Shark Tank offer? Did Kodiak Cakes, when they were on the show, did they accept a shark offer?
I haven't watched it, but I'm gonna say no.
That is correct. They did not. Here's some fun facts about it. They offered a 10% ownership in Kodiak Cakes, the two founders there, for $500,000. And the sharks, being sharks, tried to take advantage and tried to get half of the company. So the founders walked out of that room. They did not accept the sharks' offer. And here's some other fun facts. When they presented to the sharks, they just had a couple of $1 million in sales. That was in 2014. By 2016, they had tripled their sales. So just 2 years later, they'd taken them to 16 million. And by 2018, they were the #1 selling pancake mix at Target stores. And then they expanded into other areas like oatmeal nutrition bars, frozen waffles. They ended up selling the company, the two founders, in 2021 for $200 million. And by 2023, they had increased their revenue to $500 million. And now they're one of the most well-known bakery brands in the United States. I can even buy their pancake mix out here at the Costco in Massachusetts. So, fun fact about that company, I thought you'd enjoy that. But part of sales skills obviously is that compelling storytelling. So whether you're making a pitch, if you're on Shark Tank with your product, or you're just trying to pitch an idea internally, that's a key sales skill that will really help your career. As well as, and you've got here problem solving. In sales, you're constantly navigating and trying to solve problems. And frankly, when you meet with customers, you're trying to solve problems. And that's what the next thing is too. Is talking about customer centric thinking. So for me, I work at Comcast Business. We're a business selling to businesses. So we're in the B2B space. And one of our big customers at Comcast Business is Chick-fil-A. And an example of how we're both trying to solve with problem solving for them, but also be customer centric in our thinking is, if you could imagine what the #1 problem that Chick-fil-A has for their business is, they're trying to continually increase or improve rather the time to serve their customers, right? So they're trying to get their line queue management. They're already really good at it. They want to be even better at it. So what did we do as a business partner in this kind of sales skill umbrella, being customer centric and trying to help them with their problem solving? We took them to Universal Studios. We own Universal Studios. We also have line management there and line management experts in queuing. So we took some of the Chick-fil-A team, their technology team down to Universal Studios, and we shared kind of technology and things that we use to manage that, trying to help them solve their problems. So very, customer centric type of thinking and sales skills. And even if you're not in, a sales role or a sales function at your company or a company you're interning with, see if you can go out with the sales team and meet with some customers or, standing on some sales calls. A lot of them are done virtually now like this. They're done on Teams or Zoom. And so you might be able to just join in and just listen in. But I think you'll find it's very interesting. When I took my first foray into sales, which, wasn't the beginning of my career, but when I did it at some point, that's the thing I actually enjoy the most, because you're hearing from businesses and other, customers about their problems, their solutions, what's going on. And it's really interesting, frankly, and can be a really exciting part, a fun part of sales and selling. All right, let's. And then, another key thing about, sales and sales skills is it really is a foundation for very effective leadership. Mastering, these types of skills, whether again you're doing it in a sales role, you're taking classes around sales skills, or you're just finding ways to leverage them, in the part of the business that you're in. So here's another. Let's do another gift card. Does anybody know in the room or have a guess what percent of Fortune 500 CEOs began their career in sales?
Shout out. I think I have the ceiling mic on now. Can you hear me, Shawn?
I can. Yep, I can hear you, Chandler.
Let's go.
Yes, 95%.
60.
30. 65.
50.
80. Can you hear those, Shawn?
So it's 20%. It's 20% of Fortune 500 CEOs, like ours here at my company, began their career in sales. But 25% of CEOs globally began their career in sales. Again, because the skills that you learn in a sales role really can make you successful in leadership. And I've got some of those things, called out here. Obviously, the ability to influence. I don't know if any of you, wherever watchers of the show The Office, or have spent time with that. But Jim Halpert, who of course is a fictional character, but to me, he's a great example of influence beyond authority. He's pretty much the office prankster, but he has an incredible ability to persuade people, to build relationships, and to navigate kind of the workplace. So for me, he's leveraging all those sales skills to influence kind of beyond that authority. And then, calls out cross-functional collaboration. If you're going to be a leader of any type of business, small or large, trying to get the various departments to work together effectively, whether it's finance, operations, supply chain, sales, marketing, is one of the most difficult tasks, trying to get them all to collaborate in an aligned manner around the same goals. And so having some of the sales skills, that we're talking about, and the ability to be persuasive, and really would help you with that. And then obviously resilience, resilience in leadership. I think, if you're going to go through sales, you have to, what do they say? You have to get used to hearing no a lot more often than you hear yes, and taking certain setbacks. And that can be incredibly valuable in terms of a career. So we'll do another. We've got Mark Cuban here up there, began his career in sales. Let's do another giveaway if we could. What was the first thing that Mark Cuban was selling? Does anybody know?
Back there.
Radio on over the internet.
Radio on
No, that's a good guess. It was door-to-door sales. I'll give you a little cheat. It was door-to-door sales. He was going door-to-door selling something. Anybody have an idea on that?
Okay.
Pest control?
No, but that's a good one. That's a good question. Good guess as well. He was selling garbage bags. So imagine that. He's selling garbage bags door to door. Can't imagine a job, tougher than that potentially. But he and also a fun fact, Mark Cuban was fired from his first job. And he went on through his career to have many failed businesses, but ultimately, obviously, some incredibly successful ones. Became a billionaire. And it goes back to the point of learning how to handle rejection in a normal sales role is going to be able to help you handle anything that comes your way in leadership. It's going to make you incredibly resilient. So yet another reason for sales skills that can help you with leadership. All right, and then I have a little thing here. I just wanted to talk about jobs in sales. So it isn't just a job particularly you can take as you look to launch your career. It can actually be one of the best places to launch a business career. And I have some of the things, called out here. But it's over 13% of all US jobs. So there are, if you go to I challenge you to go to any company that, you're interested in potentially working long term and go look at their job postings. And my bet is that you will see as many, if not more, sales jobs posted on that company's website than any other opening. So it can be a great opportunity, to break in, to an organization. So here's another. We'll do another little question here for a gift card. So, what percentage of new college graduates, regardless of their major, spend their first role in sales? So college graduates, regardless of their major, first role is sales. What percent?
Oh, sorry, 25.
25%. 10%. Let's go you right here. 60, 80, 80,
40,
40,
50.
50,
50.
55,
50%. One out of every two college graduates, regardless of their major, will start their career in sales. And hopefully, I'm convincing you, that's a really good idea for them to start their career in sales. If you look at there's a couple things as well about sales. I don't have it on here, but obviously it's fun. I'm not conveying that. Sales can be very fun. It can be very challenging, but it can be very fun. It's a very high earning profession. So, and I think, the old stigma around sales is that these are commission only jobs. I don't know of almost any jobs anymore in sales that are commission only. Most of them are highly salaried jobs with a commission component. It can be one of the fastest ways to get to a six-figure income straight out of college, which is, fantastic. So you look at the opportunity there, not to mention all of the things that go into sales with different competitions, things like President's Club, which our company does, an all expense paid trip for the seller and their guest to a 5-star resort. Things like that come along with sales as well. And why do companies invest that much? Well, because sales is so critical, of course, to the nature, of the business. But companies will invest more typically in training and onboarding into sales roles than any other function. And they look for people and put you into leadership programs from that. So it can be an incredibly great place to launch and start your career, even if you intend to go with another department. I know, I have several leaders that work for me today that couldn't find roles coming out of college, whether they were finance majors, analytics. And so they went into sales and they later pivoted, but they feel like it's benefited their career tremendously to have had that, first start in sales. And I do see that we have a lot of women in the audience today, which is awesome. Women are a little bit underrepresented typically in sales, particularly in tech sales or B2B sales. They're only about 30% of sellers. But I would really encourage you, if you are a female audience, to really consider starting your career in sales because you have a distinct advantage. Data shows that you have both a higher close rate and better success against your targets. So you have an advantage if you choose to foray, into sales. All right. And I thought I would share a little bit about my career journey. Here's a fun thing about doing these presentations, not for work and doing them external. I can show goofy photos. Like that is a true photo of me as a University of Utah student up there flashing my 1990s hairdo and my one-piece jumpsuit ski suit. Don't see those often anymore. But I wanted to share a little bit about my career journey. My daughter thought this would be of particular, I think, interest to the group. And I would say I've also got a depiction of kind of a ladder progression type of career or lattice pathways or linear, nonlinear. And so, examples would be ladder progression is a very common approach to a career. You start as, say, an analyst and you work your way up into different finance roles and you ultimately become a CFO. And that's a very straight kind of ladder progression. I've had a very different career, more of a lattice and a nonlinear path. I think there's distinct advantages in that. Some of them are, diverse skills that make you available for a lot of other opportunities. You can, it also, in my case, did provide a better work-life balance at the right time, and I can talk about that. But so there's advantages, I think, to, oh, sorry, I don't know if I flashed that. There's advantages to thinking about your career as you enter the job market at some point about it not being a linear kind of career path. So, my story is I started as an intern in software development with a really large company. And that internship, again, I was a student in Salt Lake City, but I did that internship in the East Coast. I got some experience there. One of the best things I think is I just determined I didn't want to be in software development. It didn't seem like the right job for me, so to speak. And so my first job out of college was actually as an IT specialist, and that was with a startup company in Salt Lake City. And then I progressed with that company into two roles. Continued to work in a very, as we talked about, ladder progression. Promoted into the IT manager role, later promoted into the IT director role. That startup was sold to a bigger company, became part of a larger organization. Um, and as I continued to develop my career, at some point for work-life balance for my family, I married a fellow Ute, and we wanted to start a family. I was having my first child, and so I took a role as a sales engineer, which is great if you have a technical background. It's a fantastic role. You're basically designing solutions for customers and working alongside the sales teams in terms of selling to them. And then, from there, I moved into some sales, leadership roles. And this goes back to people that are intimidated about sales. I was very intimidated. I thought, the sales manager role, I actually turned that down as the company approached me about it because I was so, frankly, kind of afraid about sales and that I wouldn't be successful at it. But I finally got some really good advice, and I decided to embrace a sales role and take that on. And it turned my career. It really pivoted for me. And then you can kind of see my progression to general manager, regional vice president, division vice president of operations. So I moved between different roles in sales to operations, again, in more of this lattice pathway. I actually then went on for our headquarters for our entire company to lead sales strategy and operations for them, which was a really fun job. And then today, talking to you again from Boston, I lead a division of Comcast Business. I'm responsible in that role for just over $3 billion in annual revenue and just under 3,000 employees. And so that's been kind of my career journey and, my pivot. And maybe here in a minute, we'll take a couple of questions and be able to get to Q&A around that so you can see a little bit more about, my story. Couple of wrap ups here, and we are running short on time, so I'm trying to hurry up a little bit here. But just, I think understanding how powerful sales skills can be and sales experience of any kind or aligned experience, can really help you. It's a mindset, again, more than anything else. So whether you're launching a startup or you're leading a project or you're going to be leading a team, learning some of these skills, helping evolve your strategic thinking and your ability to influence and persuade will really set you apart in your career. And maybe there's some of you in the audience that still are like, I don't care, I'm never doing a career in sales. And that's fine. I thought I'd share for our buddy Jim Halpert. Basically, only 39% of salespeople actually intended to go into sales anyway. So 4.4 million are accidental sales professionals in the US today. I could argue I started my career a little bit accidentally in sales. So it may still happen. I thought that was a fun fact. Okay, so last slide that I had to show. I just wanted to flash this up here really quick, and we'll move to Q&A. But I do work for Comcast Business. It's part of Comcast NBC Universal, which is a large umbrella company for global media and technology. Had to put a plug in here shamelessly. We are hiring. This is actually a little snapshot of our open jobs, a little subset of our open jobs here on the right. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it, maybe too small, but of course, the highest number of jobs we have open are sales jobs. And we also have this link to early career. So for those of you looking to get an internship, we post our internships for summers. We post them starting in August and September for the next summer. And so a whole host of those will post at the end of this coming summer for 2026 for those of you that will still be in school or still looking for an internship. We do have a handful open today. And I had an opportunity to look today, and there's a couple other job links I'd have to put in here. NBC Universal actually uses a different job link, as does Universal Studios. And I did notice NBC happened to have about a dozen internships still open for this summer. But in addition to that, you can explore and see what kind of entry-level roles we might have available. But we're a very large employer across the entire United States. In the US, we operate predominantly our biggest hubs are Denver. Our biggest hubs are in Denver, Atlanta, and Philadelphia, and some other locations across the US. So great opportunity if you're looking for work opportunities. I wanted to put that plug in here. So we've got a few minutes for some Q&A. It looks like 5, so maybe I'll be able to take a question or two. And of course, there is a little reward there in the room, I think, from Chandler for asking a question.
Hi, Shawn. My name is Kaylee. I wanted to say thank you so much for presenting to us today. My question for you is, what has been the biggest challenge in sales, and what would be your number one piece of advice for someone who's struggling in that industry?
So sales is hard. That's why it pays so well. That's why it's lucrative. That's why it's rewarding. It can be really challenging. I think for me, going into sales, having not started my career in sales, I didn't take any classes in school that prepared me for it. I needed to learn from others. And so what helped me, I think, overcome some of the difficulty of just learning that area of the business was spending time with people who had more experience and letting them mentor me. So, I went to some of the most experienced people. So if somebody's struggling, I would say in every company, there's somebody that's succeeding incredibly in that role. Find them, sit down with them, talk to them. Maybe they're later in their career. Maybe they've been doing it for a year or two or longer. Find out what worked for them when they got started, what the challenges are. I think one of the other things about sales is just getting out of your own fear about it and kind of your own comfort zone a little bit. It is a challenging, profession, but letting that kind of fear go and diving into it and knowing that even if you don't succeed at a particular sales role, there are different types of sales roles. In our company, we have sales roles that sell to people who aren't our customers yet, so they call on businesses that aren't buying from Comcast Business today. But we have other sales roles that call on existing customers, which could be easier, to be honest, because that's an existing customer who's already bought Comcast Business, and you're just contacting them to help them, take part in more of our technology solutions. So there can be different types of roles too that may be easier to succeed in others for people that still need to work and develop sales skills. So um, I think that would be my advice, I guess, is find people that are successful in the profession you're seeking to be in, spend some time with them. I think you'll find most people are very open to sharing and spending time with you and helping you along your journey. And also your leadership team, any leadership team in sales, they're available. Again, part of the 3,000 employees I have responsibility for today, about 1,000 of them are salespeople, and our whole leadership team is here to work for them and support them in their success. I don't know, Chandler, if we gave that young woman a gift card, but we should.
How's it going? My name is Blake, and I was curious because you talked about a very wide variety of jobs that you worked throughout your career. Did you find one that was, kind of you were the least successful in, and how it showed you what you might want to do differently in your career path?
Yeah, actually, I really would say the software development. I started coding when I was like 12. I started writing games and I loved it, and I thought that's what I would do, and it paid really well. But I did it for a really large company, a subsidiary of Dow Chemical, and I sat. It wasn't like Google and what you see on TV where people were like on skateboards and there was a snack room. We were like in cubicles, hard coding like all day long, and I just decided I just didn't enjoy it. And I think, everybody's got to figure out their personality. But for me, it explained to me, even though I thought I was an introvert and I'm a little bit of a natural introvert, I liked people more than I got to engage in that role. And so it just caused me to seek other roles, in IT. And I think that's probably the one that comes to mind. But I would say every job I've taken, because I have taken a wide variety of jobs, there is a learning curve. I think one of the challenges for me just is to kind of get out of my own fear about it and just know that I can learn things. I can pivot and do different types of roles, and I've always tried to seek out who is really good at a particular role, if it's operations or some of the selling roles, and spend time with those folks and try to learn from them. And just kind of adapt and go through it. But I do think the whole career journey is about learning yourself. I know that I like to work with people. I like to engage with people. That's something I learned along the way. I also know that I like to lead. I like the privilege of leading teams. I really enjoy that. And that's something I had to figure out. While I loved being a sales engineer, that was an individual contributor role. I loved that job. I ultimately decided to go back into leadership and make that pivot because I know I enjoy leading people and the impact I can make that way. So from every job, good or bad, you learn things about yourself and you learn skills that are transferable to other things.
Thank you.
That's about all the time we have for this session. I'll give Shawn a round of applause.
Thanks all. It's great being with you virtually today.